Hello, good night. Tonight I will talk about a very special book of mine, a grimoire that I love, that I have written called Lilith. It is a grimoire, a book that I wrote for Lilith, telling the story of Lilith, but in a very specific way, no? I say, well, as a writer, one can choose the storyline or what part of the story one wants to tell. And in the story of Lilith, I say, well, I did write other stories for Hecate or other grimoires, but the one for Lilith was very unique. It's very, it's like one, you know. It's very different than all the others. It does create a discrepancy to the other grimoires because from all the other spirits in the meaning of the grimoires of the Arbato that I have written, they're all male characters, no? But Lilith is female, is woman. And that makes all the difference, no? To say, well, in that group of very powerful spirits, which are masculine spirits, even in that meaning, of course, through the masculinity powers or the masculinity abilities, they are masculine, no? And Lilith carries the feminine side, carries the feminine traits. So that changes the story of Lilith, of course, by her being a woman, by her being a daughter or wife. There is the element of the woman that Lilith represents. And in the cover you can see the way I imagined Lilith to look. Of course, we all know that Lilith is a very beautiful woman. It has she is representative of that beauty, of that power, of everything that God created in a woman, no, that perfection of a woman that represents Lilith in the same way. And I imagine her with dark hair, even if sometimes she appears with red hair. There are very beautiful paintings that many very talented painters have painted Lilith, and they did such a beautiful work because they really show that beautiful, wild, natural aspect of Lilith and what she represents. It is a very beautiful painting of a very beautiful woman, but with beautiful characteristics of Lilith that are represented in the paintings as well. And of course, I'll say, well, in my book, on my cover, I wanted to have the face of Lilith, now that that power that is seen on her face, or that element of what she carries that is seen very close by us through the element of the face, of the eyes, of the nose, her dark hair or her dark features, no? But as I've said, sometimes she appears not with dark hair, but with reddish or red hair. That's the element of Lily. Sometimes she has very long, luscious, red, beautiful hair. And her skin is more pale. It is a pale skin. Lilith has the skin of a moonlight. The color of the skin of the moon. It's very white. It's very creamy. It's very beautiful. And of course, her eyes and her features are very strong, very beautiful, but at the same time, very close to perfection. To say, well, God did a very beautiful, created Lilith as a very beautiful woman. And every painting that you will ever see of Lilith, or any representation of Lilith, carries that beauty. One can observe that beauty through very easily. It is very much the element of beauty. That's what I can say about it. I know it repeats itself, but that's the main focus of Lilith, is her beauty. Her physical beauty, her appearance, but her qualities as well. And her name Lilith, no? And say, well, it is a name that ends in Teha, Lilith, no? Or sometimes she appears with different names or different variation of this name, like Lilithi or Lilitua or Lilitus. And say, well, the ending sometimes changes, but the root Lili remains, no? It's the name of a flower, of a white flower that grows into water. That's the a beautiful flower of Lilith. It is in Romanian similar to the crine, or any flower that is white, has very beautiful shade, very, very feminine, and it grows in water. It is a bigger flower. That's the element of Lilith. Sometimes she appears with her flowers in paintings. So one can see that, of course, the painter has has went in a deep search, in a deep finding of the elements of Lilith, by him being able to represent that in a painting, the same way I do it in my book. It is a process that one has to have patience, and I enjoy that process very much. Beside her femininity and her beautiful appearance and all her qualities, Lilith is the first woman who said no. She represented the element of the no, of course. You say, well, Lilith has not been created only as a beautiful woman, but she has been created by God in a very intelligent woman, a very strong woman. So Lilith carries the element of that beauty, of her understanding, or her own intelligence, or her own awareness, or her own understanding of things. She is free in thinking her own way through the decision aspect, and to say, well, Lilith is a free spirit. That's what her name represents to Lilithus. It is a free spirit. And say, well, maybe Lilith, before being in a physical form, maybe she was spirit, in the meaning that God say, well, first is spirit and then comes the material, of course, no? So we say, well, Lilithu or Lilita or Lilith took place. It happened. God created her. It is the moment of creation as well. It makes me think of the ninth that finish in Teha, this Lilith. It is something that has been like accomplished or completed. It's the element of creation for me in the Teha, Lilith. Of course, the Teha too shows the origin of her name. No, it is ancient. It is with a specific origin as well. But names through history, or especially through ancient histories, of course, differ, or sometimes you find them differently. But it is the same name, just spelled or written in a different way. It appears in my book as well. Sometimes we have Lilithus, Lilithwa. This is how Lilith calls herself as well. They are all names of Lilith. Another aspect of Lilith is, of course, the magical aspect, no, of her power. So, well, it is a secret. The power that Lilith has gotten from God, or God has bestowed upon her, does create a very unique and special relationship that she has to her father, her God, no, to say, well, God is her father, in the meaning of she is daughter of God. This is how Lilith sees herself and is. She is daughter of God. Lilith is daughter of God, and not only the daughter of God, the first daughter of God. That's who Lilith is. Through ancient history, this is who Lilith is, who she always has been. In my grimoire, I speak about, as I've said, it is not a factual book. It's not that I tell the story of Lilith in simple ways. It is a literary work where I created a book, a story, where Lilith speaks through verses, through my hymn form, poetic writing, giving voice to her and for her to talk and express herself freely. You know, there's the element of the free spirit of Lilith. I could not have written the book in a different way. For me to write the book, I have to honor my subject. And that approach that I take, it is the correct one for my subject. So, of course, the element of the air, of the freedom of Lilith, she represents the melancholy of the water, or the melancholy of the sound. There is a sadness, a melancholy that she carries. There is a armor of a type of shadow that she dwells in gladly. There is the element of fierce, of strong, of power that Lilith carries. She is powerful in the meaning of standing her ground, or knowing who her father is, that God is her father, that that relationship she has with God, with her father, it is invincible. That's what all that matters to Lilith. And she does carry, I've said, the element of the air, the element of the water. Of course, the lily, the flower, the blossoms of all flowers are connected to water, some even in more specific way than another. But of course, flowers and water are very connected. In spiritual meaning, it can even be seen as the same thing. but with specific qualities. So, well, the flower of Lilith is not a rose, no, no, for sure not. The flower of Lilith is a very soft green, long flower or plant, no, with long leaves, big leaves, and then the flower has this beautiful shape, but it's still open, not closed, as a rose, no, it has only a few petals, and the petals roll and creates this beautiful shape, no. It is floral, it is a flower, but a flower of the element of the water. It carries a stronger petal, very fine, with white and cream, and inside is more yellow. It has a very soft, very pleasant odor. It is very beautiful. That's the element of Lilith, the element of that plant, of that water, of that color, of that beauty. It is very strong and shiny at the same time. It is not a fragile, it is not a flower with thorns, no. The flower of Lilith is a special flower. One has to see it, one has to observe it. And if one checks the paintings of the past, one will see this flower I am describing. Another animal, or another, say well, aspect of Lilith is the element of the owl. As I've said, Lilith is magical. The element of owl always speaks about magic. It speaks about the night. We say, well, the owl is able to decipher and hear things that no other human or being on the planet can. That's why the owl represents the element of magic. In the owl, we say, well, there are of course many different aspects of the owl, because they say, well, the owl screeches, no, it makes a very screeching, horrible sound, no, and say, well, it screeches so loud it can hurt the ear. They say, well, the sound of the owl is not a singing bird. The owl is not a singing bird. She has a different voice. The owl screeches. There's the element of Lilith as well. This one carries even a different meanings, or plural, more meanings, if one is able to understand. Of course, the owl represents the night, but it represents an element of the snow or the water, or a more cool environment, very silent environment. It's very much connected to the moon, which of course is an element of magic. And sometimes Lilith is connected to trees, very much connected to specific trees. She appears in other paintings of very famous painters, sometimes in blue, light, sky, open environments where she is in a tree or represented by the tree through the hair in the wind, that element of the wildness, the wild spirit of Lilith, the free spirit of Lilith. It is a celebration of her glory, of her power, of her beauty, of all those elements that she carries. If I was to think about a specific fruit that I will associate with her, just like this now intuitively for me, it will be the pear. It's the shape of the pear, the color of the pear, the sweetness of the pear, not too much, not too little, just the perfect shape, the perfect fruit is the pear, la Birne in German, or in Romanian, well, in Romanian is, maybe it comes a little later, so the pear in English, para in Romanian. It has that specific form, no, that's very much representative for me, for Lilith as well. There is a certain taste or a certain smell or a certain flavor that comes with elements of Lilith. She enjoys this, many things that say, well, if I was to describe what she likes, would be like dark chocolate, red wine, good smells, the same time element of the nature, no, the element of the crystals or the element of the snow is very much connected to Lilith. That beautiful snowflake, that geometrical form, that coolness or that beautiful aspect of the snow or of the ice even. There is a specific painting where it's winter and there is a tree and there is a woman, it's like I think an Italian painter with the hair in the wind, and the tree moves almost breaks in the wind. It's a black tree. Say, well, the element of the screeching or the element of something brought to an extreme, or the wind, it bends the tree, it almost breaks. Then the hair of this woman, that wild element of the wind, it's almost that reddish element of the hair of Lilith. But of course Lilith appears sometimes invisible too. She has different symbols. Sometimes she appears even if others people don't think it is Lilith, or they don't know it's an element of Lilith. She is for the connoisseur, the people who know, of course. This is not a simple knowledge. If one understands who Lilith is, you say, well, that changes everything. There is the element of Lilith. It is almost like a coin that always goes on yes. That's the element of Lilith. She is in divine honor. She is divine daughter of God, no? Other beautiful colors that she has, it is a very light blue, almost white type of color. It is very calming, very beautiful energy. It's almost like the perfect blue sky when you are at the beach, or the perfect sand color, or the perfect sea water, the color of the emerald, the green, the blue. This is all very much Lilith. Even the element of the fish is connected to Lilith. Of course, element of the water. There is the element of the pearly white, or the pearl. It is very much Lilith. And say, well, if many understand Lilith in her negative traits, it is wrong. Lilith has very delicate symbols, as I said, not the rose with the thorn, but a very beautiful soft flower that has just the perfect color, perfect shape, perfect smell. This element of the perfection of that ambience of everything. The different elements that, as I've said, are very soft, are very beautiful, very natural, very, let's say, there is the element of natural when it comes to Lilith. She's representative even for the caves. For example, in different paintings in the past, they painted a lot of caves. The element of the cave, that's very much Lilith as well. Because I've said she appears in different ways, no? Another element of Lilith, I will say it is the fence, or different parts where the area is closed, or it is a distinguish between something, a fence between two fields, or something about fences. The fence that, when you go outside, there's, say, well, until here, or there's the element of the fence. And, of course, most representative is the element of the night. Lilith is a spirit of the night. It's the owl as well. That's why, of course, all the symbols fit well together, because they are all truths and they are all part of those aspects that one can understand Lilith. Or we say, well, the color red, she likes red candles, or she likes red wine, or she likes red lipstick, the element of red. Or she likes blue, or she likes, there's a specific taste. It can change. You say, well, Lilith is that way. The blue is green, the green is blue, the yellow is green, doesn't matter. It is the moment, the pleasure of the moment of the color. There's the element of the choice, which is finally a pleasure. That's what Lilith teaches. To say, well, to be able to choose is already a gift. Choose wisely. This is very much Lilith, the way she is. So, well, choose wisely, no? So the book, it is very interesting. It does carry many, many beautiful aspects. I do recommend my Grimoire of Lilith. Of course, there are many other books, and you can read in history about Lilith. You can do your own research. This is my own perspective, my own understanding of the elements of Lilith after writing the book, and after, of course, reading about her. And I think the book is just splendid. It's really beautiful. It is one of my favorite books that I have written from all my books. If you want to buy the book and have it for yourself, there is a link in the description box below, and there is the playlist of Lilith that I will continue to talk about. I will leave this one here for now. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, bye.